That makes your display very expensive.
Yes, it
does. If you buy the fireworks and you pay $2,000.
Goodness, avoid it. Let's get to Blake in for Cheetah this morning. You have a Christmas present for our forecast, Blake?
Oh, well, it depends. So I ran a poll last week and I said, hey, what kind of weather would you like? 526 people responded to my poll. Oh. I cut a cartwheel when I get 14.
Yeah,
okay? you know 526 people? That's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even know that many. But anyway, the bottom line is 62% of those people said they want bitter cold and snow for Christmas. So back to your point, no, I do not have good news for Christmas. After I've used up all my time now for weather, let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what we're looking at for across the nation. Above normal temperatures with a few scattered showers from Chicago all the way down to Houston. Some mountain snows out towards Denver and Idaho, and then beautiful weather across the East Coast. So that's just a quick look at your Christmas Day forecast. Now, if you're looking for a white Christmas, here's the current snow cover across the U.S. It's pretty paltry, to say the least. But the forecast takes us in to Christmas Day at 5 o'clock. Maybe some snow out here towards the Great Lakes and again out towards the Mountain West, but there is no white Christmas here in Houston like there was in 2004, our snowiest and yet only white Christmas on record. 13 inches of snow fell in Brazoria County, 10 inches in Bay City, 6 inches in Santa Fe and Angleton, and 4 inches in Galveston. How many of you remember that? Yep, that was pretty amazing because most of us north of I-10 only saw a few flurries. All right, 50 degrees at all three major airports, Bush, Hobby, and down in Galveston. 48 degrees down there up there in Conroe. Clear skies this morning, going to stay that way heading into the afternoon, but big problems out across the east coast of the U.S., stretching from Maine all the way down to Florida. So if you're headed to the East Coast, definitely keep a close watch of your airlines. It's cold here across the center part of the country, going to stay that way throughout the afternoon. But here locally, we're talking about temperatures, Steph, 64 degrees. Ooh. How about 75 heading into Saturday? Yeah, it's going to be a nice weekend ahead.
Cannot believe it. There's something to be said for a white